Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of Open and Honest. This is our online Zoom series while we're in quarantine. So obviously we can't same place, but we decided to still keep recording and bringing you guys content. So today we are talking about Libras. We're talking about being Libra. We both are Libras, so this was like the perfect topic. And I've like recently kind of gotten more into signs and everything. So it's an exciting time to like just be able to have this conversation. But before we get started, I just want to know, like, how are you doing today? How are you
Good,
feeling? All that sort of
good. I think it's getting a little bit easier. Scarface chiming in.
thing. Who is that?
Hi, we're recording. We're recording. I'll call you in a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. But I'm good. I think what I was saying, it's getting a little bit easier to come to terms with being stuck inside. I just today read everything about how it's being extended until April 30th. Originally the 12th, and then we had talked, and I was kind of going by what you had shared with me that it was probably going to be extended until the 26th. I was like, okay, it's already going to be extended more, and then today until the 30th. So who knows? It could be extended even more. So I think just that's like sticking into my head that this is going to keep going for another 4 weeks. Like, that's a long time, 4 weeks.
Yeah. Did you have like any initial like anxiety when you found out that like it was gonna be extended even longer, or like you were just kind of like, okay, like
No, just because I was like, we're already living this right now. This is our situation. It's going to be our situation for who knows how long. So just come to terms with it now. The only thing, like I kind of mentioned yesterday, the only thing that freaks me out a little bit is just, I feel like every day I'm thinking, okay, it's more serious than I originally thought. Okay, it's more serious than I originally thought. And so I'm kind of like every day going through a step of progressing with that, I think. And that's just the scariest part is like, fuck, you really don't know what we're dealing with. We have no idea. So just taking our precautions, like with everything, haven't really left. But it's easy, I think, to be going through this just because like my routine before was like working out, working, and if I can't work, I'm still somewhat in the same like trying to be in the workout routine or like trying to do 2 a day just to keep myself busy and up. So I think that's like the main thing that's keeping me like sane during this.
same. Yeah. I don't know. For me, like I did have a little bit of anxiety, like when they said it was gonna be like another 30 days, just because like I'm already like, like missing like just my regular routine. And it's hard for me to like establish a routine in the house. Because it's not where like I'm most comfortable, like I am comfortable like being out and about, like going to a workout class or trying like a new studio, or going into office, making my coffee, driving home, my morning and afternoon commute. And so like there's no part of that, so it's been like a little difficult for me to just establish a routine. I feel like some days I'm more productive, some days I'm not, and I just want to lay around. And then like also like it is like allergy season, and it's been like very windy outside, and so like when you sweat and then the wind hits you, you come back and like you might feel a little stuffy, and so like you're like, oh my god, like am I getting symptoms? And so there's a lot of anxiety from that. Like yesterday I went to bed and I was like hot in my bed, like I was just like hot, and like that happened to me before, but like now because of everything that's going on, it's like, oh my god, like am I getting a fever, do I have a temperature? And then you go on social media and everything's about quarantine or COVID-19, and you're just like, oh my god, like can I get away from this for like 10 minutes?
There's no escaping it. Isn't that the kind of like
Yeah.
other crazy part too, is that there's literally this rules and dictates kind of every part of our life right now. If you think about it, like nothing
Yeah.
isn't surrounding this. You're constantly stimulated, like overstimulation, I think, overly fed information, like kind of like what we said yesterday. You don't know what to believe, what not to believe. So that's a little interesting. But at least we're not completely by ourselves, and we still have a means of communication, and we're not in complete isolation, like we're not in jail. Thank God. But
No, yeah. But and I think it's crazy too, because like think about it, if this was like 20, 30 years ago this happened. And like your only way of talking to people was like your landline in your house.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to be FaceTiming or like Zooming right now.
It's crazy. Like, so I don't know. Yeah, we definitely are blessed in the sense like we can be connected within like a minute or, you know, seconds, but it's still definitely like I miss just seeing people. Like I miss everyone. So I'm excited to like I'm definitely like you know, happy that they're taking like these precautions to keep everybody safe, but I'm also like ready for it to be over. So
Yeah, definitely.
excited for that.
And like you said, like going to different studios, I think that's the main thing I miss is like going into like different gyms like that, like gym how we would. I miss it.
Yeah, especially like with class, it made it so easy to just like go try yoga one day, go do this. So I'm definitely gonna like go and do all the classes like I had been wanting to do. What did you say?
We should pause our memberships. Have you paused yours?
They automatically paused it for you.
I was like, wait,
Yeah.
charge for this. Hold on, I'm gonna pause this for some cute elevator music. Yeah, so anyways, at least we can still do this, still see each other. One thing I do want to ask you, this isn't related to anything, but yesterday, for the longest time, we were listening to like a weird kind of speaker coming from outside. And I looked outside and I was like, what is that? I couldn't like figure it out what it was. And then I saw a bunch of people on the street and it was like a helicopter that was going over us and like looking for a child. Do you know if they found him?
No, so okay, yeah, I heard that too. Like I heard the helicopter and the speaker, but I don't know if they found it. I didn't even know what it was for, to be honest with you. I just like heard the helicopters and I was just kind of like, oh, like to be honest, like there's always helicopters over my house because it's like part of the flight path or whatever. But then when I heard them, I was just kind of like, oh, that's weird, you know, but I couldn't hear what they were saying or anything like that.
No, yeah, I just kept hearing the helicopter and it sounded like somebody was talking on an intercom. So once I came outside, I could actually hear what it said. And it was like 4-year-old white male wearing black t-shirt, like call 911 if you have any information. And there was a bunch of people on the street because they were, and it sounded like there was cops like circulating this area for a while. And that's why I was like, what is going on? But anyways, yeah, so I was just wondering if you knew anything about that. If anybody does, or if you haven't heard about this, there was a missing child yesterday, East Lake area, 4-year-old white male wearing a black t-shirt last seen. If you have any information, call 911. All right, so on to lighter topics. Let's talk about our horoscope.
Ooh.
Horoscope. And if you didn't know, Libras are from September 23rd to October the 22nd. My birthday is October 15th, so I'm on the latter area, and Renee's is the end of September. So we're both Libras. All right.
Yeah.
So our horoscope for today, it's quite a loaded paragraph. Compile a third playlist and start curating a few seasonally appropriate date night outfits. Yes, you can still dress up for a virtual dinner date. Today, passionate Mars blazes into Aquarius and your 5th house of amour and glamour until May 12th, turning up the heat in your romantic forecast. The pursuit is more than half the fun now, and you'll have plenty of interested right swipers. For happily coupled Libras, relationships will accelerate, exciting, but don't give up your Pinterest wedding fantasies for an expedited walk down the aisle. As your luxuriating sign knows well, good things come to those who wait. At the same time, Libra, don't ride the brake so hard that the object of your affection detours in a different direction. Say that 5 times.
Okay, so this one, so like, was this like a specific like one towards love, or that's just what it pulled out?
No, this is just our Libra daily horoscope for Monday, March 30th, 2020. And also, if you guys want like a good astrology website, I always go to the Astro Twins, and it'll take you directly onto their website. It's the first one that comes up. It's astrostyle.com. Same on Instagram. That's where I get all of my like astrology information from. So yeah, that's what I'm going off of today.
So what do you think about like our horoscope being all about love?
I don't know why that is, because I mean we're not in February anymore. I don't know if like the month has something to do with it. I really have no idea. But it's just interesting because now you see a ton of people trying to do like date night, like quarantine date nights and like virtual dates. And I saw a video yesterday of like this girl sitting on a rooftop and a guy sent her like a note through the drone, and so they've just been like
I saw that.
so I mean I feel like that's like what my mind went to on like virtual dating and all of that. A thirst trap playlist, well, that's one of Libra's like qualities, is they're always listening to music, stuff like that, and I find that that's not me. So that's one like common Libra thing that I don't resonate with, but I know you do. You always have music blasting.
Yeah, so like for me, I feel like especially this year, like I've made it a point to make a playlist for every month, just like of my favorite songs and just like songs that like I've been feeling, or like my mood like for that month, you know. So I've like so far like done one for January, February, March, and then April I'm gonna start creating that one. But like I've shared it with like one of my friends, and so like every month I put it on her phone. But
And then
it's like I don't know. Okay, yeah, I'll start sending them to you. But like, I don't know. I feel like I've made more of an effort this year to start like creating playlists because it definitely like goes with your mood and stuff. Like I have one for like when I'm trying to party, like one for when I'm like feeling sad, one for when I'm like, you know, in that like love mood, like I need, you know, I need a man or whatever. But like I feel like you can create a playlist for every type of like mood. And so even like have you seen the quarantine playlist that they have?
no.
Yeah, somebody made like a quarantine playlist on Spotify, and like it's just a bunch of songs that are like related to like quarantine and like being sick and stuff. So I don't know. To me, I just find it interesting that the playlist has so much to do with love, because I feel like, excuse me, like this year, like I've made it a point to distance myself from love. Like, you know, I just want to do me. I want to be selfish with my time. Like, not to say I'm not talking to anybody, but like just like I I'm just choosing to be selfish, and when things get serious, I'm like, whoa, 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 like we're not doing that, you know.
Wait to whenever something gets serious, halt.
I'm like, no, no, sir, we're not doing that. So I just think it's interesting that it has so much to do with like love and like creating like a playlist that's gonna like attract certain things, you know. But I feel like more recently, like since I don't know if this is just like quarantine bringing this on, but like I've like had like an interest in like getting to know somebody seriously, but like at the same time, like I'm not in a space where like I want to settle, you know. So it's just like kind of hard for me because I don't know what's bringing it up. You know what I mean? Like, is just because I'm literally in the house alone, or do I genuinely want to like explore that side of my life?
Yeah, and when I was looking for like little like Libra memes and posts right now, one of them, like the first thing that came up was like, do I actually like him or am I just bored? Like it sounds like what you're saying, like, am I just bored or
No, I will drink to that. I will drink to that because that's literally like me. Like, even though I'm like, okay, I don't want to be in a relationship, like I'm still entertaining. You know what I mean?
and
Because I'm bored.
I've always talked about this, like you entertain, like even if you know it's not going anywhere. And for me, I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody. Go away.
No, I literally entertain because I just am bored. But the thing about me also, like I'm also very honest from the excuse me, from the beginning. Like I let you know, like I don't want to be in a relationship. Like we can talk, we can get to know each other, we can hang out, you know. But like if you think like at the end of this, like we're gonna be in a relationship, like no, sir, we're not. Sorry.
No. And that's like one of the good things that you mentioned that, because one of our main, I feel like that's something that goes hand in hand with like being indecisive and like decisive, whatever. You always know exactly what it is that you want in terms of that, and like say it from the get-go, like we are not going past this point. And for Libras, that's one of our main things, is that we're indecisive. And like in that sense, you're very like
Like I've made my decision on that.
yeah.
But to be honest, I feel like that's the first time in my life I've been so like decisive with like my love situations. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I've kind of just gone with the flow, you know, like if you're interesting enough, like you make me laugh, like if you check off certain boxes for me, like it's easy, you know, for me. And I'm not really like, oh, well, he, he gives me red flags in these situations. So like I should decide not, you know what I mean? Like I kind of just go with the flow as far as things go. And like that's part of like my indecisiveness. Like I'm just very like, oh, like where do you want to eat? Oh, I don't care. Like I just go with the flow type of thing. And I feel like I was very much like that with my love life too. Like I just went with the flow, you know? And so now I'm like making a conscious effort to not just go with the flow and like look for the things that I truly want and like put my foot down when like something isn't for me or like what I truly want. So I'm like happy that in one aspect of my life, like I'm choosing to be decisive and like make decisions. But I definitely feel like I could carry that over in a lot more of my, like
Different
a lot more places in my life.
just your love life.
Yeah, yeah. But so I have a question for you because like I was recently talking to like one I was recently talking to one like one of our friends and she was just talking about how like, you know, Libras are so indecisive, like she has so many Libras in her life and like we never make decisions, you know. And then she said something like, "Oh, you know, you guys say you don't care, but you care." And so like I started thinking about that because I say so much like, "Oh, I don't care," you know, "Oh, it doesn't matter," you know.
But
But
then,
like,
like,
do you think
make
that
the
you
wrong decision.
genuinely care? You said what?
Go ahead. I cut you off.
No, do you think that like you do care?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I feel like I always say, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. But then in my head, I know what decision like I want you to make. So when if it's like the opposite or something, I'm like, that's not what I wanted you to choose. When like I could have
Yeah.
from the get go, like, oh, I want to go here instead of making you choose from the beginning. Like if we're like, it literally happened the other day. We were thinking like where to eat, and I was like, okay, either sushi or kebab shop. And Oscar goes, kebab shop. And I was like, like, I gave you the options, but I wanted you to say sushi. So I'd be like, oh, that's a great idea. Like, let's eat that. When in reality, I could have just said, like, I want sushi. And it would have been that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm definitely guilty of that. I can't
But
just.
why do you think you do that? Because like another quality of Libras is that we're people pleasers. And so do you think like your indecisiveness has to do with like you wanting to make other people happy or like what do you think that comes from?
Yeah, like I always feel like in those decisions, it's like, okay, well, I want to eat whatever you want to eat to make sure that you're happy and like to make sure that you're content and suffice with the decision that is made at the end of the day. So, so it definitely like falls into that category of like people pleasing because I always do that and I'm like, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. Just because like I want to make sure that it's something that you want to do and not just something that I want to do.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, I feel like there's a lot of times where I genuinely don't care. Like when we went to
Or I don't
like to yeah, to like Little Italy and like you guys were like, "Oh, where do you want to eat?" Like and I was like, "Oh, it's up to you guys." Like I don't really care, you know? Like
care.
I don't think like I really did care. Like I would have eaten anywhere. Like I just wanted somewhere with mimosas, like to be honest with you. So I don't know, some things I do care and then some things I don't, but I feel like generally, like, I always just be like, "Oh, it doesn't matter," you know, it doesn't matter because for me, I know that there's some people who, like, when they can't, like, get their way or their decision, like, it just messes with their brain, you know, like, just they kinda like to have control of things, and I'm not one of those people, like, it's easy for me to go with the flow even though, like, I'd rather be doing something else or I'd rather be doing, you know, this thing, but it's easy for me to just be like, "Oh, whatever," you know, but I know some people don't have that ability to just be like, "Oh, whatever." They're just kinda like, "No, we need to do this at this time and go here and do this and da, 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 da." So I just kinda like let those people lead who like to make the decisions and stuff. Mm. And then also like I felt like in my relationships previously, like when I'm like, "Oh, like we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that and we're gonna go do these things," like the other person feels like, "Oh, it's always what you want and what you wanna do."
Yeah, well,
And so you said what?
there has to be compromise. Like regardless, it still has to be something sometimes what you want to do and sometimes what they want to do. You know?
Yeah, so I feel like I'm also, like, kind of scarred from that, just, like, the thought of, like, "Oh, am I selfish because, like, I speak up sometimes about the things that I wanna do and the places I wanna go and, like, you don't," you know? So I feel like that's also made me kind of like step back and just be like more just like with the flow, because I don't want to start any issues or have any problems. So I just kind of started going, with the flow.
No, I feel you on that, but I think like for me, what I'll do a lot of the time is, if I can't, I'm not going to make the final decision ever. I know that. So for me, it's like, okay, I'll give you different options of the things that I want to do or I want to eat, so that you can choose out of those. So we're both still happy. Like, you're still choosing something from the things that I will be happy with regardless. Yeah, I think
Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
decision making. Or I always do this too. Like, I'll think of something and be like, okay, this place is gonna be A, this place is gonna be B, and I'll be like, okay, choose A or B, and then so it's still like the things that I wanted to do, but you're the one choosing, so
Yeah,
that's like
that's true.
in my head.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Do you agree with? Well, also just to clarify, or just to throw this out there, our symbol as Libras is the scales of justice. So that means that we're always trying to maintain like balance, harmony, some sort of like equilibrium with everything that we do. They say that we make good mediators, or yeah, just like we try to make everything equal, basically. Do you agree with that?
I do. I think that that's where like the indecisiveness comes from. Like us wanting like to keep everything like even, even keel. Like we just like go with the flow and we're indecisive and like we don't like to speak up or like start any troubles. Like even like I feel like that's where like with us, like we never have really spoke up on like the things that like maybe have bothered us like within our friendship until like very recently. And I feel like that goes a lot with the need to like just want to keep everything like stable and like in line. It's like, oh, like I'm just gonna brush this off because I know that like for me it's not gonna bother me in a couple days. But like at the end of the day, like then when you get angry again, you're like, oh well, then they did this, and this. Yeah. And so it builds up, and so I feel like we've made more of a conscious effort, like in the recent months or year, to just kind of be more vocal when things like do bother us. And I feel like we've learned that like things can still be even keel, like when you do speak your mind or you speak up, but like it also just makes you feel better because the other person knows.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that we've talked about before on past episodes, and just like in our day-to-day life, we've like had to consciously make an effort to speak up about the things that bother each one of us, and still try to maintain like that harmony, or even just agree to disagree on certain things. Like, and I think we've been doing a pretty good job of that as of late.
Right.
All right, the next thing, we are the air element. Well, not just element, because it's split up into different elements, obviously. And we fall into the air category, and we are cardinal signs. Let's see. I thought this was interesting because I had never really read this or knew that that was even a thing. Like, it has specific like body parts that are supposed to be like their body parts, I guess. And for us,
Okay, that's weird.
have you ever like?
Wait, say it again. What is it?
Our like main like body part is our lower back and butt. Does that make
So is it saying like what we're attracted to, or like what?
That's like all around, like across the board, Libras, that's supposed to be like their area, like that I think other people are attracted to or like take note of. That's like the best part of your body.
That's interesting. That's interesting because like I don't, like I don't have like what people would say like a nice butt. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it's a bad butt, but it's not like a good butt either. So I feel like more than anything, I get like compliments about like my teeth, like my smile. Like that's the biggest thing. And like that's also what I look for. Like when I talk to people, like I constantly look at your mouth, like so it's like that's the first thing that like my eyes are drawn to. So like I would think it would be something to do with like your mouth or like your smile or something like that.
Like smile and eyes. Like that's like what I look at.
Yeah. What you look at, yeah. So
But
that's like
that's not what
interesting.
other people are looking at. So
But like for like when I went to the chiropractor for the first time, like one of my like problem areas was my lower back, like, and it was like the bone like right above your butt. So like maybe, I don't know, maybe that's where we find like our energy, or I don't know, something.
for me, I would always have problems with my lower back and my hips, but I don't think that has
Yeah.
anything to do with.
I'm just trying to make a connection over here.
Like, I don't know what that really means, but hey. All right. So, do you know anything about what cardinal signs are?
So is that where the moon and the sun and all that come into, or no?
No, okay. Let me just redo the whole thing that it says for us. So the zodiac signs are grouped into three qualities or triplicities. So the cardinal, mutable, and fixed signs. For us, Libras, we are the beginning of fall, and we're like the leaders or the idea people of the zodiac. So these signs prize originality and like to be the first in everything that they do. So they're trendsetters, trend spotters, the ones who get the party started and crowd hyped. So and it says like you can count on them to initiate winning ideas or plans. So cardinal are just like basically like the leaders. That's like really what it
I
is.
like that.
Yeah, so like mutable, follow, and then there's fix, I guess. But fix is like the most stubborn. That's like what I know, which makes sense.
So we're a cardinal sign though.
Yeah.
I'm agree with that. I'm a party starter, trendsetter, all that. Give me
Like, oh, after the day. Good day and bad day. So on a good, tell me if you agree or disagree with these. On a good day, Libras are charming, lovable, fair, sincere, sharing, and hopelessly romantic. Do you agree? Disagree? I have to move this because the sun is moving. I can't hear you.
What would you say about those traits? Like, do you agree?
Do I agree? Charming, lovable, fair, sincere, sharing, hopelessly romantic. Charming, yeah, I think we're pretty charming because we can like, that's like another one of the main, not to toot our own horn, but Libras are Libras are supposed to be like the flirty one, like the flirty side.
Yeah.
So I feel like that goes hand in hand with like charming, and like you don't really do it consciously or like on purpose. That's just like the way.
Yeah, and you don't know when you're doing it either.
Exactly. So I think that goes with like being like charming. It's like you can kind of like swindle your way in and out of a conversation. And then lovable. I think we're pretty lovable.
Yeah, I would say so too. I feel like that's the same as charming and lovable.
The sun is like back to my spot. Fair, I think definitely fair, because that's like the whole idea that we just talked about is like making sure that everything is balanced and equal. So definitely fair. Sincere, yeah.
I feel like with the fair thing, like I think like for me, like whenever there's an argument, like I try to look at both sides, like, or at least try to understand both sides. Like I still can make a decision of like who I think is right or wrong, but like I try to put myself in both sides' shoes. And I feel like isn't the Libra like it has to do with like a scale, like that's our like what our sign looks like, kind of, or no? Am I crazy?
Kind of the scales. So like everything is balanced. So like you see both sides, and that's why we make good mediators, because we make sure that everything is fair and like try to maintain that like balance.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that one.
Okay, sharing. Do you share? Do you like to share?
I would say yes, like I'm willing to like, give my things to other people, but I think like where my sharing like kind of, I guess, stops is when I feel like I'm being like taken advantage of, you
Yeah.
know? So like I don't mind like sharing my stuff. Like you can come and get whatever you want, or like I'm willing to, like, if you need money, like I'll give you money without questions asked. But like if I feel like you're taking advantage of me, like I'm like no. Or like I feel like it's not reciprocate. Like you know what I mean? Like I can give you all this, but you're not never gonna give me anything. I
Yeah.
like feel like there needs to be that balance. You know, like that balance still comes into play. Like with my sharing, like it needs to be balanced. So
Feel like that goes hand in hand, because that's how like if I were to ever like ask for something, or if I'm like, oh my god, can you spot me like today, as soon as I'm able to, like I'll give it right back, just because I don't want to be in that position of like, oh my god, like I know that they're still waiting, they're still thinking about it, like I need to give back my part as soon as I can, so that like we maintain like an equal
the
playing,
balance.
like the balance. And same with like borrowing clothes. Like growing up, you and I would always borrow. I mean, I know that this is like a small thing, but we would always borrow clothes.
Yeah.
Okay, like I'll let you borrow this, like let me borrow this, and just making sure that like it goes back and forth. But because I have done that with a lot of people, where like you never get your shit back, like you never see it again, or like take advantage of something. Like I've let somebody borrow my prom dress for like a pageant basically, and they gave it back to me, and like my prom dress, I mean, not that I'm ever gonna wear it again, but like white, and when I got it back, it was like half of the train, like from my calves all the way down the train, was black, like
Yeah.
completely like destroyed my dress. And like I said, it's not like I'm gonna wear it again, but it's kind of like the thought,
But
you know.
it's something you wanted to like keep forever. You know what I mean? And like you should return it the way that you were given it. Like, you know?
Yeah.
But it's funny that you mentioned like the money thing, because like I feel like I'm very much that way. Like so like you know how like Venmo is a huge thing nowadays, and so like you'll go out and somebody might be like, oh, I got this, you know, just Venmo me. Like I'm very much the one who like needs to Venmo you right away, or like if you get the Uber, like I'm gonna tell you like, oh, here's your part, or you know what I mean? Because I always like I hate feeling like people are like waiting on me to pay them money, or
No,
like, oh, Renae never paid me back, or I don't like that feeling. So like even if it's like $2, you know, I'll be like, oh, I'll Venmo you, and a lot of people would be like, oh, it's okay, and I'll be like, are you sure? Like I need to know, like, because I don't want you to be like, oh, Renae didn't give me her money back for this and that. Like I don't like that.
exactly, that's what I mean. And I put myself in like their shoes, and I know that I don't like being on the other end, and being like, I'm still waiting, even if it's just like something super minute. It's like I know that when I'm in that position, I like to do it right away, so that I don't make the person feel like that, and so I don't like feeling like that either.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. Like I feel like that all has to go with like wanting to just keep things level and like having no drama or issues with anybody.
And money can cause issues.
Yes, definitely.
Hopelessly romantic. Are you a hopeless romantic? I am.
Okay, so what is a hopeless romantic?
I think it's just like you have this. I don't know. Maybe. Well, actually, then I don't know if I. I just like to think I am.
See, yeah, like I feel like so many people are like, "Oh, I'm a hopeless romantic," but it doesn't mean like you believe in love, but you know like it doesn't always work out, so you still have hope for romance. I don't that's the part of it like I don't really understand. Because it's like I'm gonna look it up. Hopeless romantic.
I'm good at this. I thought that it meant like you just have this. You just want like this like fairy tale kind of dress.
Yeah, so it says a person who holds sentimental and idealistic views on love, especially in spite of experience, evidence, extortions, and otherwise. I would say, yeah, I'm a hopeless romantic then. So like it's saying despite like your experiences with love, you still have this like idealistic view of love, you know? I feel like I agree with that then, yeah. Because it hasn't always gone right for me, but like I still have hope that like I'm gonna find my soulmate. And I feel like I do have trust issues, and I'm very like ooh scared, you know. But I like also am like, oh, I'm gonna find the one still, you know. Like there's still hope for me.
Yeah, I get you, and that's how I definitely am too. I don't really let any like past experiences trail on consciously because I know like I lived through that, it happened, whatever, like that's its own chapter onto the next. There's no like reason to bring that into like the new one, into a new relationship.
Yeah.
With anything you do, like it's like holding a grudge. Like there's no point.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm still in the phase of like I'm still holding on to like my past experiences, but I would say in like a good and bad way. I would say in a good way because I'm like trying to learn as much as I can from them so I know like what I want and need out of my next relationship. Yeah. And then also like what I need to work on with myself because I feel like there's been a pattern of like what my like I guess partners say like my flaws are. So I'm like trying to work on like those areas. But then I would say in a negative way because I feel like it hasn't allowed me to truly like move on. I'm very much like in this like, oh no, like I'm gonna distance myself from this situation because this might be something real. Like so I feel like I'm very much like in a middle
Limbo.
space.
You're the
Yeah, limbo. That's
yeah.
the perfect way to describe it.
I know, and I had kind of like this conversation with my dad the other day because I said something and I was like, not to compare or anything, but and he's like, okay, well you say that, but it's also inevitable because you don't want to repeat the same mistakes that you have, and you know, like those like triggers or red flags, whatever it may be, just learn from it. Like I don't let it affect me the same way or anything like that. And I don't really have any like in my current relationship, like I never feel like that, but just when it does or if it comes up, it's like, okay, like how would I have reacted before and what place am I in now and like how am I going to react to it now, because like I was in completely different places and like mindsets, headspaces during that time, like in my life when I was going through it originally, and now how can I react, you know, kind of like that. So like
Right.
out comparing, but at the same time you sometimes do compare inevitably, like it's, and it's not something I don't think to beat yourself up about any like in any sense, you know, like when I was talking about it with my dad and I still had this like stigma or this like in my head I was like I shouldn't be comparing, I shouldn't compare, I can't compare, and he's like it's okay, like it's gonna happen and you need it to grow and to realize right from wrong, what you want, what you don't want, and just how you're gonna react. So I think like that's really important. That's like something I've learned recently.
Right. Like, but that's the thing is like I feel like you should use your experiences in every area of your life to shape like how you're going to continue to move forward. Like, because that's what makes us a better person is that we're able to look back and like see like the areas where we did good and where we did bad and like use that in our daily lives with in our relationships and our friendships and whatever else it may be. But I think that's important. So,
I agree. All right.
so what about us on a bad day?
That's what I was about to say. Bad day. Bad day. We are vain, indecisive, melodramatic, manipulative, spoiled, and delusional.
I don't agree. I don't agree.
I feel like it's like so hard to say like, oh yeah, I'm all of these horrible things, but at the end, like if you really think about it, okay, vain. The vain, just like in the sense like we care about like our looks, kind of like narcissistic, I guess.
But okay, so these days I would say like a majority of people are vain. And the reason I say this is because social media is a thing. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like we're all so worried about like how we look on social media, like whether it's just posting a picture, what we're gonna post on our stories. We edit the shit out of our photos because we care about how we look, you know? We take selfies all day long because we care about how we look and we want to look good to other people. So I would say like these days, like I feel like there's a like the line between what's considered vain and what isn't has kind of been a little bit skewed.
No, I agree. And like you said, I think we all have like a little bit of ourselves that is vain. Like it's, you can't say that you're not ever.
Yeah. So I feel like yeah, I would say yes, but I would say but like minimal or something. I don't know.
We're on the lower scale.
Yeah, I'm on the lower side of vain.
It's
Okay, what was the next one?
already gotten over. We are indecisive.
Yeah, that one is yeah. Check. Sign me up. Um, I'm gonna have to say yeah on that one I'm gonna say on the low spectrum again though. I definitely like look for like no, I wouldn't say look for it, but I feel like there are times where like I am very animated in my reactions to things. What
Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
But I feel like I do it like purposefully. Like I'm conscious, like I'm being so dramatic right now. It's not like
Yeah.
I don't realize it, or I'm just like, this is this diva persona without knowing, like, no, it's an act. I'm doing it on purpose.
So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm doing it on purpose, but like I know that it's like I'm conscious of it. I will agree with that. Yeah, I'm conscious of it.
Manipulative?
No, I don't think so.
I'm just trying to think, like, I'm just trying to think, like, because it's basically you think you know how to get your way. Or what? How would you describe being?
Yeah, like I guess you like manipulate. Like you get people to do what you want. So yeah.
But I don't
Okay, but like
a bad way, or like I'm like being so manipulative. It's just like, please, like help me, or like do it my way. You know, it's not like
yeah.
my way or the highway.
Okay, so if I'm being honest, I think I would have to say yes to this. But okay, so when I think of manipulative people, like I think of people who do like malicious things to get their outcome.
Like,
I don't think I'm that person. I don't think I do manipulative things to get my outcome. But what I do think I do is like when I'm in like an argument or something, I'll be like I'll be like, oh, well, I guess like since I'm such a bitch, like, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll say things so that people will be like, oh, no, you're not a bitch. You know what I mean? So I would say like manipulative in the sense like I will make myself out to be like the victim in certain instances so that I can like come out on top, I guess. Um, I guess that's like character flaw that I have. Like I am very much like the one where, like you act like I don't do anything for you, and like we'll kind of like throw things, you know? Yeah, but I would say I only do that in relationships.
yeah, I get what you mean. Because I don't really ever fight like that with like my family or with anybody really, but like if it comes down to it, I feel like in that sense, if you've ever called me something, like how you said like, oh, I'm such a bitch, like if you've like called me something like, oh, you spoiled brat, or like you whatever, then if it ever comes up where like I can use that to my advantage, like, oh well, if I'm so this and this and this, then why? To make it to like make you seem like better, you know? So I would agree with that.
Yeah.
So it's a good point to make, because I wouldn't have thought of like to describe it in that sense.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like I don't know if that like would be classified as being manipulative, but it's definitely like not right either.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just a trick that we coincidentally both have.
Yeah. Coincidentally.
Spoiled? I haven't seen, yeah. Like if I want,
Okay.
I can get like I'll ask my dad, and like I know that I can easily get him to give it to me. I'm like, oh, would you like to donate to my, fund for this and that, and be like, fine. But and I know that like my brother's
Yeah. So the reason like I have a really big issue with like the word spoiled. Like I hate it to like my core. Yeah, because I'm an only child. So my whole life without people even knowing me, like as soon as I say I don't have siblings or I'm an only child, oh, so you're spoiled. Oh, so you're spoiled. Like without even knowing my life situation, knowing nothing about me, like I could meet you, literally know you for 10 minutes and tell you I'm my only child, I'm automatically spoiled. So I will definitely say like I'm fortunate. Like I've been given like most, if not everything that I wanted in my life, you know? So yeah, like you could say I'm spoiled. But the thing that I don't like about like being deemed spoiled is like there's this like connotation that you're also not grateful. You know what I mean? And I'm very grateful for like all the opportunities and the experiences and the things that like I've been given or have in my life. So when people say spoiled, it's like, oh, I just get all the shit, and I'm just like, oh, whatever, like living it up, you know. But I'm like very grateful for everything that like I've been given. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't like, when thinking about it in that sense, like I would never say like, oh, Renae is so spoiled, like just because of that. Like I know that your parents work hard to give you what they can, and like you work hard too. Like it's not like it's not deserved, and you have the means to do it.
Yeah, and I think
There's no reason for anybody to
that's the other thing.
afford it. You can do it. It's not that you're spoiled. It's just like, this is the quality of life that I live.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing. Like, it also like has this connotation of like that I don't work hard. Like everything has just been given to me, you know? But like I feel like I like pride myself on being like hardworking and like, you know, I'm like very proud of myself because I got a job when I was 16. Nobody asked me to do that, you know? It was something like I was tired of asking my parents for money, so I went out and got a job, you know? So I feel like those are like my little issues with feeling like I'm being like people calling me spoiled, but I know that like I am spoiled. So
No, I get what you mean, but I wouldn't say, just so you know, I wouldn't say that you're like
yeah,
spoiled. It just
spoiled brat. Like
comes
yeah,
it comes with the territory of being an only child.
yeah, I guess
Is
so.
what it, and then the last one, delusional. Like I don't even know. How would you describe somebody as like, you're so delusional? Like you just make up ideas in your head?
Yeah, like you make up ideas in your head and like you think that they're right or I
Mm,
don't know. I wouldn't say I'm
that
delusional.
I'm wrong. If I know that, if like you justify like your reasoning or something, like to tell me like your idea or your thought is wrong, or like not even that it's wrong, but this is what I think. It's not like I'm gonna stick to my guns and be like super terca and not agree with you just because that's I would.
I don't know, because I feel like delusional has like a lot to do with like you have this like fantasy look on life, like oh you think everything's peaches and creams and like you're just delusional, you know. And I don't think I'm delusional because I feel like I'm able to be very honest with myself when it comes to like where I am in my life or like the issues that I have or like you know what I mean. Like I know like a lot of people like would look at my life and be like, oh, these are her issues, you know, these are where she has flaws, but I'm also very aware of like where I have flaws or where I have issues, you know? So I feel like I couldn't possibly be delusional because like I can be very honest with myself, like just about like my fear of being alone has like contributed to my need of being in relationships, for example, you know what I mean? And like me being able to be honest and open about that. And so like that's why I've decided to take time away from relationships so that I can like learn to be on my own, and I might not be doing it like the right way, but like I'm learning as I go type of thing, you know? So I feel like it's hard for me to be delusional because I've been very honest with myself as far as like my journey or whatever you want to call it.
Like that makes sense. And you, I mean, you always have been. But yeah, I agree. I don't know if delusional would just be like the right word to describe myself. Just because like even like when we like have like conversations together, and like if you guys put me in my place, I'll listen to you and like I'll take whatever part of it or all of it and like feed it to myself, remind myself, and go like, okay, like if somebody's saying this stuff to me, it must be for a reason. So like there's something that I have to check within myself or just realize, you know. So I don't, and I think that comes with what you said, like being honest and like fair with yourself and those around you.
Yeah.
I think that's a very loaded word to describe somebody.
Yeah, definitely.
um,
Maybe like delusional in some senses, like wanting to see like the good in people, like perhaps like because I feel like that definitely kind of goes with like the wanting to be a people pleaser, like you always see like the good in people even if they've done you so bad. So I feel like it could be like it could relate to like the way that I see people. Like I have a delusional view of like people in my life, and so it's hard for me to cut people off because like we're bonded by like experiences or whatever, or like we're bonded by like me just wanting to keep things cool, but like I let you stay around even though you're a shitty person to me, you know what I mean? So I would say like I could be delusional in like that sense.
yes, I think that's everybody.
But yeah, So I would say like maybe I'm not delusional as a person, but I can be delusional in some situations or like in certain relationships, maybe.
I like that. That makes more sense because I feel like there's like all of these qualities and traits. You might not be that 100% of the time, but here and there it might come up, and that might be something.
Yeah, there's like a little sprinkle here and there.
a little sprinkle of manipulation. Just kidding.
Yeah. A sprinkle of indecisiveness. Out of like all of these like negative traits, like is there one that you feel like you like would want to work on, or that you want to put like more of an effort into like minimizing it, and like how would you do that?
Yeah, my indecisiveness, and maybe what we just talked about, like the delusional, like when you break it down into like the way that you said it, I think you can always work on knowing to differentiate when you're like letting yourself be walked all over and just like talking yourself into like that it's okay, or like when you know right or wrong, or you have all of these red flags and you just like choose to brush them off. That falls into like being delusional. I think I used to be really guilty of that, just like letting people walk all over me, or like letting myself get into a certain like mind state, and not being able to like realize, like snap out of it, like come on, like, you know. And I think that falls into that, which I've gotten a lot better, even just like speaking my mind. So that's why I say like I worked on it a lot, and I don't think I am where I was, but like you can always keep improving on that. And then indecisive,
Right.
I think that's something I'll always have to work on, like just knowing when to be like firm, stand strong in my convictions, and not like go backwards, do what I want for myself, not for like other people. And that's always going to be something that I'll have to work on. Just like the whole conversation we had, like I'll like sometimes if like I let you choose something, but then it's not something that in my head I wanted, I'm like, oh, and like I don't make a big deal out of it, but I'm just kind of like, I wish it would have been the other one. Like that's something I could have from the get-go just said that's what I wanted, and nothing would have happened. Nobody's gonna be mad at me. Nobody's gonna say anything. It's just literally just making a simple decision, and then I can always work on that. Where'd you go? Oh, hi. Hello? Hello? Are you there? All right, well, on that note, Renee's computer had a little technical difficulties, but anyways, that'll be all for today, our little talk on Libras and Libraism and all things included. So we'll see you again tomorrow for episode 3. Bye.